What happens when a global pop star walks onto one of the most outspoken talk shows on television, expecting a routine interview, but the conversation suddenly turns personal? What happens when emotions take over on live TV and the entire studio falls silent? Make sure to subscribe to Final Take Files, and like and comment for more talk show coverage. The studio lights are bright, the audience is already buzzing, and the familiar music fades as the hosts sit around the table. Whoopi Goldberg leans slightly forward with her usual calm expression, while Joy Behar flips through her notes. Sunny Hostin and Alyssa Farah Griffin exchange a quick glance as the cameras move in. Whoopi smiles toward the audience. "All right, everybody, our next guest is someone you definitely know. She's a singer, actress, producer, and someone who has been very open about her life and struggles. Please welcome Selena Gomez." The audience erupts into applause as Selena Gomez walks out from backstage, smiling politely, waving to the crowd. She hugs Whoopi first, then Joy, Sunny, and Alyssa before taking her seat. "Thank you for being here," Whoopi says warmly. Selena nods. "Thank you for having me. It's really nice to be here." Joy leans toward her microphone. "You've had a huge year. New music, acting projects, business ventures. I mean, you don't slow down." Selena laughs softly. "I try to slow down sometimes, but it doesn't always work." The audience chuckles. Sunny adds, "And fans love how honest you've been about mental health. A lot of people say your openness helped them feel less alone." Selena nods again, her expression thoughtful. "That's honestly the most important thing to me," she says. "If anything I do makes someone feel understood or less isolated, that means everything." The conversation starts comfortably. The hosts ask about her latest projects, her beauty brand, and how she balances work with personal life. Alyssa smiles. "You've grown up in the spotlight. Literally. People watched you from Disney to now. Do you ever feel like you're constantly being judged?" Selena exhales slightly. "I mean, yeah. That's part of the job, I guess. But it's not always easy." The audience murmurs in understanding. Joy jumps in quickly. "But you've handled it better than a lot of people would. Social media can be brutal." Selena gives a small shrug. "I've had to take breaks from it, honestly. Sometimes it just gets overwhelming." Whoopi nods slowly. "That makes sense." For a moment the conversation stays light. Sunny asks about Selena's cooking show, and the audience laughs as Selena talks about how she still burns things in the kitchen sometimes. But then Alyssa looks down at her notes again. "So Selena," she begins carefully, "you've been very open about your health struggles, your mental health, and the pressures of fame." Selena nods cautiously. "Yes." Alyssa continues. "But some critics say that celebrities talking about mental health while living extremely privileged lives can come across disconnected from what regular people go through." The audience reaction changes instantly. A few murmurs ripple across the studio. Selena's smile fades slightly. Whoopi glances at Alyssa. Joy shifts in her seat. Sunny watches Selena closely. Selena tilts her head a little. "Disconnected," she repeats. Alyssa quickly clarifies. "I'm not saying that's my opinion. I'm saying that's something people say online. That when celebrities talk about struggles, some viewers feel like, well, you have resources most people don't." Selena pauses. For a moment, the studio becomes noticeably quieter. She folds her hands together on the table. "I understand why people might feel that way," she says slowly. "But mental health doesn't care about money or fame." The audience applauds softly. Sunny nods immediately. "That's true." But Alyssa continues. "Right, but there are people working two jobs who feel like when they hear celebrities talk about anxiety or pressure, it's hard to relate." Joy raises an eyebrow slightly. "Everyone's feelings are valid though," Joy says. Selena takes a breath. "I never try to compare my struggles to someone else's," she says. "I just talk about what I've experienced." Whoopi watches carefully, sensing the shift in tone. "And that's fair," Whoopi says calmly. "Everyone's experience is their own." But Alyssa presses a little further. "Of course. But do you ever worry that sharing so much publicly can sometimes blur the line between awareness and branding?" A few people in the audience gasp quietly. Selena's eyes flick toward Alyssa. Branding, she repeats. Sunny immediately looks uncomfortable. Joy leans back slightly, watching the exchange. Alyssa speaks carefully. I mean in the sense that mental health discussions sometimes become part of celebrity image management. The room grows tense. Selena sits still for a moment. Her expression changes. Not angry, but clearly affected. I don't think my health struggles are a brand, she says quietly. The audience claps louder this time. Sunny jumps in quickly. I think what Selena has done has helped normalize conversations about mental health. Whoopi nods. Absolutely. But Alyssa still looks thoughtful. I'm just asking the question because it's something people debate. Selena exhales slowly. I understand asking questions, she says. But I've been in hospitals. I've gone through treatments. I've taken breaks from my career because of my health. The audience becomes very quiet. She continues speaking, her voice calm but noticeably more emotional. So when people say it's just branding, that's actually really painful to hear. The room goes silent for a moment. Joy looks toward Alyssa. Sunny gently places a hand on the table. Whoopi leans forward slightly. You can see this means a lot to her, Whoopi says. Selena nods, blinking quickly. I'm sorry, Alyssa says, her tone softer now. I didn't mean to dismiss your experience. Selena nods politely. I know. But the emotional shift has already happened. The atmosphere in the studio is completely different now. What started as a normal interview has clearly turned into something deeper, and much more personal. The audience senses it. The hosts sense it. And Selena, sitting at the table with thousands watching live, looks like she's trying to keep her composure as the conversation continues. And this is the moment when the tension in the room truly begins to build. The studio remains quiet for a moment after Selena finishes speaking. The tension at the table is noticeable, the kind that happens on live television when everyone realizes the conversation has shifted into something more serious than expected. Whoopi clears her throat slightly, trying to steady the moment. Well, look, she says calmly, mental health is complicated for everyone. Fame doesn't cancel out feelings. The audience applauds lightly. Selena nods, appreciating the support, but she still looks emotional. Sunny leans in a bit closer. I think what people forget, Sunny says, is that public figures actually face a different kind of pressure. Being watched constantly, criticized constantly, that's not easy. Selena gives a small smile toward Sunny. Thank you, she says softly. But Alyssa still looks thoughtful, like she wants to clarify her point. I just want to say again, Alyssa says, I wasn't trying to dismiss your experience. I think conversations about mental health are important. I was more asking about how these discussions play out publicly. Selena nods again, but her tone becomes more serious. I get that, she says. But when people question whether your pain is real, that hits differently. The audience murmurs again. Joy leans forward now. You know what it is. Joy says. People online think they know everything about celebrities. They don't. Some audience members clap. Joy continues. They see headlines, they see Instagram posts, and suddenly they think they're experts on someone's life. Selena nods slightly. That's exactly it, she says. She pauses for a second before continuing. I've spent years trying to figure out how much of myself to share and how much to keep private. Whoopi nods slowly. That's a hard balance. Selena sighs. Sometimes I share things because I think it might help someone else. But then it turns into people analyzing it, questioning it, turning it into something else. Sunny gently asks, does that make you regret being open? Selena thinks for a moment. Sometimes, she admits. The audience goes quiet again. But then I get messages from people who say hearing someone talk about anxiety or depression made them feel less alone. She shrugs slightly. So that part keeps me going. The audience applauds again, louder this time. But Alyssa still seems conflicted. I completely respect that, Alyssa says. But I think there's also a conversation about how celebrity culture shapes these discussions. Joy looks at her. What do you mean exactly? Joy asks. Alyssa gestures slightly. Well, sometimes when celebrities talk about struggles, it becomes a huge media moment. It trends online. It becomes part of the news cycle. Selena listens quietly. And sometimes, Alyssa continues, regular people who are struggling feel like their voices don't get heard the same way. Selena takes a breath before responding. I actually agree with that part, she says. The hosts look slightly surprised. Selena continues. I know my voice gets amplified because of who I am. I'm aware of that. She looks down at the table briefly before looking back up. But that's exactly why I try to use it responsibly. Sunny nods. That's fair. Selena's tone becomes a little more emotional again. But I can't control how media or social media reacts to things I say. The audience murmurs in agreement. And sometimes, Selena continues, it feels like people want to turn your struggles into a debate. She pauses. And that's exhausting. There's a quiet moment again. Whoopi watches Selena carefully. You seem really tired of it, Whoopi says gently. Selena gives a small, honest laugh. I am. The audience chuckles sympathetically. Selena rubs her hands together slightly. I've been doing this since I was a kid. Literally since I was a kid. Joy nods. That's true. And when you grow up in front of everyone, Selena continues, people feel like they own a piece of your life. Sunny responds softly. That's a heavy thing to carry. Selena nods. Yeah. Alyssa speaks again, but this time her tone is more cautious. Do you ever wish you had stepped away from fame completely? Selena thinks for a moment. Honestly, she says. The audience leans in. Yeah. There were times when I thought about it. The room becomes very quiet again. But then I also realized I love creating, she says. I love music. I love acting. She shrugs slightly. I just wish the personal part didn't get so intense. Joy nods. That's the price of fame, unfortunately. Selena's expression tightens slightly. I know, she says. Then Alyssa asks another question that clearly catches Selena off guard. But do you think sometimes being surrounded by people who support you, managers, fans, media teams, can make it harder to hear criticism? The audience reacts with a few surprised murmurs. Sunny immediately looks toward Alyssa again. Joy raises her eyebrows. Whoopi leans back slightly, letting the moment play out. Selena blinks. I hear criticism all the time, she says quietly. Alyssa responds, of course. I just mean. Selena interrupts gently. No, I mean all the time. The room grows tense again. People comment on my body, my relationships, my health, my career. She pauses. So trust me, criticism is not something I'm shielded from. The audience claps loudly. Sunny nods firmly. That's absolutely true. Selena's voice begins to waver just slightly now. And sometimes it feels like no matter what you do, it's never enough. She quickly looks down again. For the first time in the interview, it looks like she might be holding back tears. The audience becomes completely silent. Whoopi notices it immediately. Hey, Whoopi says gently, you don't have to push yourself if this is getting too heavy. Selena shakes her head quickly. No, it's okay. But her voice clearly sounds emotional now. I think people forget celebrities are human. A few audience members clap softly again. Sunny speaks carefully. I think you've been very brave sharing these things. Selena nods but doesn't speak for a moment. Alyssa looks slightly uneasy now. I really didn't mean to upset you, she says. Selena looks up again. I know. But then she adds something that shifts the moment even further. It just gets tiring defending your existence all the time. The entire studio falls silent again. Joy leans back in her chair. Sunny exhales slowly. Whoopi looks toward Selena with concern. Because now it's very clear that the conversation has moved beyond a simple disagreement. Selena isn't just debating anymore. She's opening up about something much deeper and much more painful. And the emotion on her face is starting to show that the pressure of the moment, the cameras, and the conversation might be becoming too much to hold back. The silence in the studio hangs for a moment after Selena's last words. You can almost feel the shift in the room. The audience, which had been reacting throughout the conversation, suddenly goes very quiet. Some people are leaning forward in their seats, watching closely. Whoopi looks at Selena carefully. Listen, Whoopi says gently, you don't have to carry the whole conversation if you're feeling overwhelmed. Selena gives a small nod, but her eyes are starting to look watery. I'm okay, she says quietly. Sunny leans in. You've been very open with us today, Sunny says. And honestly, a lot of people watching probably relate to what you're saying. Selena wipes lightly under one eye. I didn't expect to get emotional today, she admits with a soft laugh. The audience gives a sympathetic reaction, a mix of quiet laughter and supportive applause. Joy jumps in, trying to ease the moment. Well, welcome to live television, Joy jokes. It gets messy sometimes. That gets a small laugh from the crowd. But the tension isn't completely gone. Alyssa looks toward Selena again. I really do want to say I'm sorry if my question came across the wrong way, she says. That genuinely wasn't my intention. Selena nods politely. I believe you, she says. But then she pauses. It's just that these conversations happen a lot. The audience murmurs. Selena continues, speaking slowly. I sit down for interviews and sometimes it feels like I have to prove that my feelings are real. Sunny immediately responds. That shouldn't be the case. Selena shrugs slightly. But it happens. Joy crosses her arms thoughtfully. You know what the internet does, Joy says. It turns everything into a debate. Selena nods. Exactly. Whoopi speaks again, her voice calm and steady. People forget that when someone talks about pain publicly, it's not always easy. Selena looks toward Whoopi. It's not, she says quietly. Another small pause passes across the table. Then Selena adds something that catches everyone off guard. There were moments in my life when I honestly didn't know if I could keep doing this. The audience reacts with a soft gasp. Sunny's expression changes instantly. Joy looks surprised. Whoopi leans forward. What do you mean by that? Whoopi asks gently. Selena takes a breath before answering. I mean the pressure. The constant noise. The criticism. She shakes her head slightly. There were times when it felt like the world was just too loud. The audience remains silent. Selena continues. And when people say things like, it's just celebrity drama, or, she's doing it for attention. Her voice begins to crack slightly. That hurts more than people realize. Sunny reaches across the table and lightly places her hand near Selena's. That's understandable, Sunny says softly. Selena looks down again, blinking quickly. Joy speaks up again, but this time her tone is more serious. People don't see what happens when the cameras turn off, Joy says. Selena nods. Exactly. Alyssa sits quietly for a moment before speaking again. I think what you're saying is important, she says carefully. Selena looks up. But I also think these conversations can help people understand what public pressure really looks like. Selena sighs softly. I hope so. She wipes her eyes again, trying to compose herself. The audience begins applauding, not loudly, but warmly. Whoopi turns slightly toward the crowd. Let's give her a moment, Whoopi says. The applause grows a little louder. Selena smiles weakly. Thank you, she says. But it's clear the emotional moment has fully arrived now. What started as a normal interview has turned into something deeply personal. And everyone in the studio can feel it. The hosts, the audience, and the millions of viewers watching at home. Selena sits quietly for a moment, taking a breath, trying to steady herself. But the emotion is still there. And the conversation isn't over yet. Selena takes a slow breath and wipes her eyes, trying to compose herself. The audience gives her a warm round of applause, not loud but supportive. Whoopi looks at her kindly. Take your time, she says. Selena nods and gives a small smile. I didn't plan on getting emotional today, she admits. A few people in the audience laugh softly. Joy jumps in. Trust me, it happens at this table, she says with a grin. The mood lightens a little. Alyssa turns to Selena again. "I do want to say I respect you being open," she says. "These conversations matter." Selena nods politely. "Thank you. I just hope people remember that celebrities are human too." The audience applauds again. Whoopi then looks toward the camera. "We appreciate you coming and being honest with us," she says. Selena smiles. "Thank you for having me." The audience claps as the segment ends. But the moment doesn't stop there. Shortly after the show airs, clips of the conversation spread quickly across social media. Fans begin sharing their reactions, with many praising Selena for being honest and vulnerable on live television. Others debate the tense moment at the table and whether the questions went too far. Within hours, the clip starts trending online, with viewers calling it one of the most emotional talk show moments of the week. Reports later say Selena spent a few minutes backstage calming down after the segment, while the hosts also checked on her. Despite the tense discussion, the moment ended respectfully. And like many live TV moments, it became something viewers kept talking about long after the show ended. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think the questions during the interview were fair, or did things go too far? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to Final Take Files for more real talk show stories.